Hello and welcome to Videodrone, a podcast about TV, movies and other pop culture stuff. My name is Ben Vanel. I'm joined, as always, by Tommy Dasilo. Good morning, Tommy.
Good morning, Ben, and once again joining us we have our special guest. Please welcome back onto the show, Greg LARSEN.
Thank you. I really thought that was a fart sound.
I've become
a subtle. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, every time I hear it on your podcast, I think something's gone wrong with like it's paused and it's just like something from outside.
Every time you hear it, like, how often do I play it? Fuck, it's too much.
It's so soft. You've really got to got to strain to hear it too.
Concentrate. And
you got to do a lot of work.
Yeah, I think there's a sound.
I love what I've learned over the course of doing the show with you, Greg, is starting to notice the little tell of when I notice your gaze sort of slowly slide off to the bottom right corner of the window.
Like,
I know to get excited.
Hey, what's going on? I've got the worst. There's so many sounds on here, and I've picked the worst panel.
Oh yes. Well, we are here to talk episode 4 of season 2, I should say, of The Last of Us. Seattle Day 1 or Day 1, I think it's.
I think it's just called Day 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
As always, if you've never listened before, why are you jumping in now, you fucking crazy son of a bitch?
Strange to be watching the last 3 episodes and be like, I don't need any analysis of this, and then watch this one and be like, you know what? I would like to hear what 3 white guys have to say about this this relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that was your breaking point. We'll do a full recap of the episode beat by beat without any spoilers for the games. And then we'll do a little spoiler section because all 3 of us have played both of the games and we'll sort of contrast and compare. Let's start with the actual episode, the content itself. Maybe actually before we get into it, what did you guys think generally about this episode?
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I liked it. Yeah.
Okay. I did like it. I thought it was good fun.
I am not to jump way ahead, but I am really feeling like, oof, only 3 left after this.
Well, yeah.
Big time.
I mean, us all knowing, how much there is to cover from the game. I think that's the main thing. I'm a bit like, it's starting to feel weird that it's only a 7-ep season. I don't know. I guess
it does feel weird, and it also feels weird in the context of I remember reading something like, at the end of Game of Thrones, HBO had basically said, you got a blank check. And it was, the writers, whatever their names were that everyone hates now, who were like, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
It feels like The Last of Us. I mean, we already know, HBO already knows it's this absolute, powerhouse game. And season 1 just was a massive hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It feels like they could just be like, we can fucking make it however many episodes you want. Like, we got the budget.
Yeah.
Do they not have the budget? I can't imagine that it's a budget issue.
No.
I think it's like creatively they're wanting to kind of maybe show off a little bit or kind of constrain themselves to give themselves the challenge. But I guess, this will just say a little bit more about what my overall viewing habits were last night. But by the time I watched this, this episode, I was left a little cold at the fact that there wasn't any scene of a grown man pretending to be a baby and then jacking off while listening to Evanescence. So that just tells you a little about the order of my viewing last night. So that's my issue with it. And that's not the fault of the show at all.
Yeah.
I was literally going to say, if Nathan Fielder has the budget to do what he did, they can spring for an extra 3 episodes of The Last of Us.
I am so glad. We were umming and ahhing about whether we were going to watch the rehearsal after The Last of Us, and we did. I'm so glad I did. If you had spoiled that for me, I would have punched you in the
face. We did.
That's a spoiler, by the way, for the listeners. If you in the rehearsal.
We watched Last of Us first and then the rehearsal because we figured, Last of Us, it's kind of a downer always, and fucking hell, we should we should talk about maybe we can talk about the rehearsal on the bonus episode.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
do a big Nathan
do a bit
Fielder
of that.
chat.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I think I liked this episode, like, you know, beat by beat. And I think this has happened a little bit this season, where like I'm definitely having a fun time and it's entertaining and it's tense. And at the end, I'm still a bit like, okay, but how are they going to do the rest of it? But anyway, that's for later.
I do. Well, yeah, actually, that is for later, because I was going to say I was going to have some thoughts, and then I realized those thoughts are very video game based.
Yeah. But there's some sick stuff in this app, and we kick off with something that, I really enjoyed when they were doing it last season, the sort of flashback stuff to set up the context a bit for the world. And so, the first scene is a bunch of fucking soldier bros in the back of a little ATV or something.
Yeah.
And they're being real yucky. They're talking about just what was the Fedra
voters.
Voters, and being like, I can't remember. Basically, one of the soldiers like taunts a normal person. Smashes their fucking face against a brick wall.
Oh yeah, what's the term he uses? They're doing handing out. No, but they're handing out forms or something, and there's like some term he uses for them, and then his sergeant, he's like captain, thinking that means they were jacking off or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yes,
disseminating information.
Disseminating information. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
And so they're laughing about this guy getting his fucking teeth knocked out, and then they start calling him voters. Yeah, which is and then old mate Jeffrey Wright pipes up, playing Sergeant Isaac, and he's like, hey, that's the reason they call him that is because they took away their rights to vote, and that as citizens, that's your main power. And it's a
we were doing that to
term.
mock them. Yep.
And then he stops the car, and a bunch of people walk into the road. And
bit of a roadblock.
They hit a roadblock. A bunch of people walk out, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "I'm going to go out and talk to him." And they're like, "We should all go out." And he goes, "I'm the sergeant. You stay here, motherfucker."
Yeah.
And then he does a spin kick.
Yeah. He says, how are you going to talk to them now, bitch?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
He walks out, and then he has a think, because there was another guy in there who was new and fresh. And he was the one who said, "Why do they call them voters? Why do you call people voters?" And he seemed, very unsure of himself.
Yeah.
And Isaac decides, come out and learn something. He's going to take him out of the car. He walks up to the woman, because of this big crowd forms, and she says, "Are you Isaac?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you blah blah blah?" And she goes, "Yeah." And then he just turns around, and one of the coolest bits in the whole show so far.
Yeah, this ripped.
Yeah.
Just fucking casually chucks a couple of grenades in the car and quickly locks the door.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then
just fucking
and then waiting there
boys.
With the gun poised for if one of them does manage to sort of crawl out and still be a little alive. Nah. Guess again, bitch.
He absolutely inseminates him. Just inseminates him with some bullets.
Yeah.
And the young guy sort of looks at him like he's nearly going to shoot him, and Isaac goes, "Now's the time to pick a side."
Yeah. The woman.
And that was in the past.
That was in the past. That was 2018, I think it says. Yeah. So. Still a fair while after the outbreak, in this timeline, right? Or is it?
Before basically all of season 1, like 2 years before, or 3 years before, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. The woman says to Isaac, "Welcome to the fight." So clearly, there's something going on. There's factions. There's factional conflict, and then bang. We're back on the road with Dina and Ellie. They're looking around a drugstore, or a pharmacy as it should be called, and I will not budge on that. And Dina...
apothecary.
Yes, thank you very much. So, thank you,
playing a lot
my
of
liege.
Kingdom Come Deliverance too lately.
Oh, yes. Fuck, those potions take a lot. Why do they have to be so tedious making the potions?
Yeah, that's side chat. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, great game, but I've never played a game that I've loved and hated so much at the same time.
Yeah,
It's so frustrating.
I enjoy, like, because yes, the level of like immersion is what I always wanted in a game, but I think I would have got someone else to make the potions if I was living back then.
Yeah,
I'd just be like a really tough, buff soldier guy who takes no shit from anyone.
Yeah, someone else. All right, side chat over.
Okay.
All right, back to regularly scheduled chat.
And so yeah, I know Greg, you watched this with your partner. And yeah, so I was watching it with Bridget, my girlfriend, and as soon as Dina looks off screen and goes and picks something up that we don't see, my partner said, "It's a pregnancy test. It's a pregnancy test."
100%. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I also, like, I immediately thought that as well. Like, I know the game, I know the story and everything, but also I don't believe, and this isn't, anything, but like, I don't believe that was ever a plot point in the game that she finds a pregnancy test specifically. Like, I can't remember, but either way, I feel like it's one of those things I feel like that was very obvious.
Yeah.
But, like, what else would it be? Like, oh, I've found some heroin. Actually, yeah, that would. She's like she found some endone or something. Some opioids.
Yeah, that would have all been gone like day one of the outbreak. People would have been looting the chemist. So it would. I mean, finding one like leftover stash that really would be a big event.
That's actually something because I literally yesterday, just because I wanted to watch The Last of Us, but I had to wait for my partner to get home. I just watched episode 1 of The Last of Us again.
Great.
And Joel, in episode 1 of season 1, Joel is giving a guy, whatchamacallit, Oxycontin.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And he goes, is this the good stuff? And he mentions that there's a factory in Atlanta that's up and running. Like that all they make is drugs and ammunition. The detail I never noticed.
Yeah, interesting.
Like, that's from Atlanta. He's like, all they make is drugs and ammunition.
Fuck.
Cool.
So it's a little detail that like there's still some industry going on, which also fills in why the fuck people have bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Like I did see, because I've been reading, people chatting about this, and there was some speculation of like, why is there working guns and ammo everywhere? And the kind of answer was like, well, they're in America. So like they probably have enough guns and ammo to last 150 years. But yeah, that is funny. That it's like, well, yeah, we got a factory working. What are we going to make in it? Well, drugs and ammunition, of course. The two most important things in the world.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So,
it wasn't oxys. It was a pregnancy test.
It was a pregnancy test. Apparently, it was like 5 of them. There's a big
There was a whole
multi-pack
scene
there.
where she didn't know how to work it, so she kept shitting on the pregnancy test and being like, this isn't working.
Yeah, we all, for the listener, we all pay for the like $70 a month version of Max, where you get deleted scenes in every episode that maybe the average person, if they're not paying that fee, they're not going to get.
Always someone shitting on something.
But yeah, she comes outside and I found this funny where she's like, she just walks outside and Ellie's immediately like, everything okay? It's like she hasn't really done anything yet to act sus at all, I thought. She's literally just walked up to the horse and she's like, are you okay? But we do know she was in there. She says, I'm just going to pee, which again is like, in the chemist? Okay.
Yeah.
But they get on the horse.
They get on the horsey.
They find a little tank. Is that the next thing? They find a tank?
Yeah.
Find a tank.
Yeah, they
She's
find
like,
the
let's have a
tank.
look at this tank.
There's some dead bodies in there. They do a big bang. Ellie does a big bang with the hatch. And they're like, well, at least we know no one's around.
Yep.
And then I think so they look up. Dina has a look around with the binoculars, sees the WLF on the little tower. There's a big satellite dish. And they're like, okay, well, that's something. And then they go into a music shop to, I guess, hang out for a bit.
This year, I don't know about this bit. This was really like, and again, it's hard having played the games, right? And so you know like what they're adapting and what they're leaving out and what they're putting in. But this felt so egregiously like it's the video game, but live to me. Yeah, I don't know. This felt strange to me.
I don't know. I don't know why that felt like it was just like they were like, we got to hang out somewhere until nighttime.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically the song I thought was, I found it weird anyway.
I think it's hard though because it doesn't. I mean, it's like anything. It's like it's impossible to have played the game and then not have that in your mind all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like I don't know, like because I've felt like that too, where I'm like, oh, this feels kind of video gamey, but then also I'm like, but if I hadn't played the game, I don't think
would feel
I was again rewatching that first scene, that first episode. There was that that long, there's like a sort of continuous shot in the car that seems to go for quite a while, or at least it feels like it's a continuous shot where they're going fuck, and there's like the buildings burning and the planes crashing and the town, and to me I was like, oh, this feels very video gamey. It's like a video game cutscene where you're in the car, but then I was like, also it feels very any movie where they have a big one shot scene like Children of Men or something.
Yes.
Which So like it's like. It feels video gamey because I've played the game. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I think specifically. I think specifically with this, it was just like something about like that song specifically, like in the game, felt like, oh, that's kind of funny that she's playing "Take on Me" on the acoustic guitar. But in a like filmed context, it stuck out as a little like. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on why it reads so differently across, like specifically that song reads so differently to me across a different medium. But it felt odd. It felt like a weird.
I didn't find the song jarring at all, and I didn't find them like spending the night in the music shop jarring. I think it being that song, I just don't like that song. Number one. It's like that and fucking Africa's Toto just got played at every millennial dance night.
Also, there's few things I hate more on this earth than like a haunting acoustic cover of some song that's not, like I want to hear a haunting acoustic cover of Who Let the Dogs Out, or just like someone with a guitar going. Ming, 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 ming. Like playing the crazy frog thing, like real slow.
Yeah, it should have been that. But I will say again, watching it with my partner, this is great character building. Like we don't know the extent to which Dina and Ellie, feel things for each other at this point, and. Basically, my partner turned to me after that and went, "Oh no, they're in love!" Like it's setting up those stakes, which are so much higher
the show's
now.
Gone woke. We're gonna have to stop watching it.
Yeah, that is what happened, and then she beat me. But beautiful moment, and they also kind of reflect on Joel a little bit, which kind of. Is getting backgrounded a little bit through this episode. I've seen some criticism that it felt a bit too lighthearted, just kind of like bopping around the city and having quips and stuff. But I think that what this is doing is setting up that they are like actually in love, and again that these are real stakes for each other. This is not just we'll go and get revenge. It's now they care for each other even more.
It's so funny to me. Thinking about some of the visuals in that episode with the word lighthearted.
Well,
and that guy's like just covered in blood and his dick and balls are out.
Yes.
His hands being mutilated. It's like,
their friend's dead. Why are they out there just having fun? It seems so weird.
Just climbing around on
like knifing that guy in the neck. Bleeding him out.
I think the most dark-hearted scene of the episode is we start with Isaac, and he's talking about his life pre I was going to say pre-COVID, pre-infection.
The whole thing is a metaphor for COVID.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and he's Dan Andrews, the fucking villain.
Man, I just remembered too. It was COVID. Like that's when I got Last of Us 2 was like in that fucking lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a time
it came
to
out
be alive.
It came out like in between, and then we went back into lockdown or something. But
I remember getting a COVID test because I thought I was sick, and then going like, I'm just going to buy The Last of Us real quick. Like, I'm not.
I'll run into the shops and then I'll do the test on the way home.
Yeah.
19th of June 2020 it came out. So I think we were we not just in lockdown? Like that
we were out when it came out. I remember that because I was away for the weekend. Then I guess not long after that we would have gone back in.
We went back in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Fuck. But anyway, Oscar's talking. Oscar. Why I keep saying Oscar? Isaac. Oscar. It's because there's a man named Oscar Isaac. Yeah. Oscar Isaac is talking about how he always wanted to have these French cooking pans. And how it's funny. It's a funny old world the way you end up getting what you want, and then there's a fucking naked, skinny little bloody Scar or Seraphite as he insists upon being referred to, and Isaac is he's torturing him. He's fucking beat the shit out of him. His tiny little nub dicks just staring straight at the camera.
I think it was like the dicks that size aren't
pretty huge.
Uncommon.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the biggest ones I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I was like scared. It's like, is that why they've got him chained up? Because they think he's some sort of like some sort of beast,
some kind of fertility god. But no, he's been torturing him. He burns his hand. He's like, where are you fucking Scars going to attack next? And this guy is basically saying stuff about how the prophet will, save him and fucking...
She's watching over us.
Yeah. Where's your prophet now? And, we learned the extent to which Isaac is a fucking bad man.
Mm-hmm. There was some sort of truce between them and the Seraphites that got broken. They're going back and forth, and he's like, I don't want to hear it, man. It's too fucking late.
Yeah. Now, is that a metaphor for any kind of conflict?
Interesting.
I can't think of anything in the real world that could possibly be analogous to. And it's good, because I wouldn't want to get into it.
It's pure fantasy.
Russia, Ukraine, because like Russia are the good guys.
Right, yes, exactly.
And Isaac's the good guys in this.
Yes.
He's
Putin. He's
Putin.
He's
and
Putin.
Putin's like the good guy.
Yeah.
Ben, make this the clip for the socials.
I've always stood by Russia in that conflict, and I've always backed them.
Yeah. And that's Greg Larsen saying that. Greg.
Don't clip this up to make it sound like I'm saying anything weird. Like I love... Ukraine, like it's...
Right, because that would be real. That would be quite embarrassing. Yeah, that would be embarrassing.
I'm gonna bash the Anzacs and then I'm gonna suck off Putin.
Oh, fuck, I just forgot. That will happen. This will happen. Sky News will go, Greg Larsen in shocking... ABC's Greg Larsen.
Yeah, ABC
backs
star.
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
But they should be, because they back Vladimir Putin. Sky News are like Trump's side, and he's a Vladimir Putin boy. They're a Putin boys.
The article will be like
Putin boys.
Stunning turnaround from formerly disgraced ABC star.
Moments
as he
before
finally backs the right man. That we agree is good. Here at Sky News.
Yes.
Moments before launching into an ill-advised riff about some Skellingtons doing a little dance, Mr. Larsen had this to say, and good on him.
Larsen slams the Skellingtons. An explosive interview.
An anatomy, part of the anatomy that we all have, that exists inside every single person. But according to Mr. Larsen, they're evil.
We reached out to a local Skellington to get his opinion on Larsen's disgusting tirade.
Oh Christ. So yeah, outside the door where this torture is happening, we see that young fella that he saved from that he plucked out of the van, and he's.
I didn't even know. Like, I thought he might be the young fella purely because they showed his face.
In
a way, it was like, it's this guy, and I was like, I have no idea who the fuck that guy is because I saw him for 2 seconds.
Well, he's got a little gap in his front teeth, which is
I didn't notice that, but I did notice it's the same guy.
That's why, like, you know that show, like Band of Brothers? Mm-hmm. I reckon I've watched that 10 times, and I think now I might know who every character is.
Yeah, right.
When you just see dudes with helmets on, it's like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Is that the same guy? Is that a different guy? Which guy is this guy?
You got redhead guy, and then you got Ron Livingston at one point, and everyone else is the same.
I feel like that's the trick for most shows. You need to have seen the people in other stuff. And then you can be like, oh, that's Office Space. That's, Turner and Hooch, etc.
Yeah.
Watching Turner and Hooch, I'm like, who's Turner and who's Hooch?
Oh, wait. One of them's the guy from Saving Private Ryan. Okay. All right.
And the other is Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
So what's next in the episode? So he tortures the guy. The guy holds his hand out to be willingly tortured because he's like, I'm not going to tell you shit. And then he just shoots him. Fucking bang.
And then, young Buck is like, he got what he deserved, fucking animals. So he's been fully radicalized. And then, we're back with Dina and Ellie. They're making their way towards that building. And then once they get there, they fucking see some creepy ass shit.
Yeah, bunch of blokes hanging from the ceiling
with their intestines squirted out.
Yeah,
fucking squirted out like a dead whale on a beach.
Yeah, which makes me think that these Seraphites not such great fellas.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I reckon that's a pretty bad thing to have done.
If I were to string someone up and then cut out their guts so their guts were hanging out, people would not want me on gigs. Like
people would have questions.
We wouldn't want you on this anymore. I'd turn on you, and obviously, Sky News will omit this from their coverage of the episode. But I'm anti people being strung up and having their intestines.
Well, of course,
gutted.
they won't admit that because Sky News are for that.
Yeah, they love
that's one thing that Sky News stand for is having people strung up with their intestines.
Yeah. I think they've used the word strung up about 10,000 times.
Yeah, sure.
In the past year.
Around the office, in the break room.
They would have had a hard time watching that scene because everyone from Sky News would have had a big boner. All the intestines.
They would have been like, wow, I didn't think it could get any funnier than that episode of the rehearsal, but I stand corrected. This is a fucking cack.
Yeah.
But then this actually was the main moment that felt like a video game to me, which is like they're walking around this, they're like, oh fuck, what's going on here? Should we check upstairs for any like maybe that dude's here or something? And then you see like the torchlights at the windows and they're like, hey, we got to check out this place. We're a bunch of soldiers. We're coming in, and they do a bit of stealthing. Not what stealthing means as a slang term. But they stealth around, they sneak around a little bit, and a bit of a fight breaks out. Ellie gets upstairs, hides behind the doll, and then
the dough.
And there's a bit of fucking like you said, Greg, a bit of stabbing in the neck.
Yeah, yucky.
Fucking gets that guy. Stabs in the neck, and then another guy comes in, and I mean, this is what I liked about this too. Is like, I mean, yes, it did. Again, it's like, it feels video gamey, but also because I played the game. But also it would be the difference with the video game, right? Is like when you're in that kind of level, like you could legitimately go, all right, cool, I'll kill all 20 of these guys.
Yeah, yes.
And just like you've got like an arsenal in your backpack and you can kill them all. Whereas, like, she stabs one guy, then another guy shoots, and then they have to get the fuck out of there real quick.
Yeah.
No-
There was real tension. There's real tension when they come into the room and they're like, hiding behind the little, piles of sandbags and shit. Yeah, totally.
Well, unlike the video game, they can't just get shot and then just kind of like hang out for a moment, like behind some cover and slowly regain health that way.
Yeah,
Yes.
or just take a pill, like a pill that makes them go, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Completely healed. The wound's
now.
gone.
Oh, and I think, before this, I think maybe even during the daytime when they're looking at the place, I think Dina is like, what if there's like wolves there that aren't the ones we're looking for? And they both kind of tacitly agree, like, we're just going to fucking kill them all. We're going to kill anyone in our way, which is fucking sick. I really love that.
That's it's a cool way to live. Yeah.
And then
at this point too, you'd have to think, like, I'd be like, I mean, they were all wolves that came and killed Joel.
Yeah.
It's pretty safe to assume wolves bad. Get them.
Yep. Get them.
Get them.
And then, they jump out the window, they run down a dead end, and then they crawl into this little crack, this little crevice, and then they pop out in a fucking scary-ass subway tunnel.
Yeah.
And,
Nothing bad's going to happen down there.
Yeah. There's going to be bloody PSOs there checking your bloody tickets. Imagine if there was PSOs down there. But no, I thought this was great. I loved, and like the imagery of the game is fantastic, and I think they recreate it really well here with the red flares and all of that stuff. And fucking thrill ride of a scene. I love this scene.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say it was balls to the wall.
Baby.
Like that guy who was chained up before.
Yeah.
His balls were to the wall.
Balls to the wall, baby. It was a thrill ride. It was fun. They're in the subway car. All the infected are smashing on the sides.
Oh,
Me and
yeah.
my partner are going, that's like when we've just finished our dinner and our dog wants a treat. An after dinner treat.
Yeah,
pouring out the window.
Yep. And then we get our second appearance in the show of the Skellingtons. They rock up.
Yeah.
They've been in the subway car on their way to, I guess, a big performance that they had out of town.
It's a really weird scene because they all sort of dance and everyone stops and watches them and then just goes, okay.
Yeah.
And then they just continue on. And like even the infected are just like, all right, why'd you do that? And like, we're the Skellingtons.
And that wasn't in the game, which is weird to have that added in.
Yeah. And like, we talk a lot in the spoiler section about, the changes that are made to the game. And, we did mention, I think, last week that taking out the 8-hour scene of the Skellingtons dancing was probably a mistake. I think adding this one in it's pure fucking masterclass storytelling here. I thought this was an incredible piece of television.
Well, show don't tell, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But like what I loved about it was they showed and told because there was text on the screen the whole time that said, these are the Skellingtons.
Yeah.
Love the Skellingtons.
Really, lots
Please
of text
enjoy the
repeating,
Skellingtons.
covering most of the screen. Yeah.
For those of us that are sort of students of cinema, we know show don't tell, so that was in there for us. But for the for the people in the audience that are perhaps a little bit dim, that kind of do need it also told to them. Yeah. It was I've never seen that done before, where you get to satisfy kind of both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah,
it's really inclusive. Really inclusive.
Yeah.
I thought
really enjoyed the Skellingtons.
it was done in quite a subtle way, and I really appreciated that as well.
Yeah.
So the Skellingtons sing their song and they get away.
Yep.
Yep. Josh Earl's been listening to this and he messaged me to say when the Skellingtons did show up in this, he laughed out loud because of thinking about us talking about it.
Oh, when the actual skeletons.
Yeah, in this episode.
Any second that one's going to get up and start fucking.
Yeah. So we are actually kind of ruining the show for people at this point.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm very pleased.
I want you to have a bad time when you watch it. So they get away. They find a turnstile.
Yes.
as it's sometimes referred to, and they get sort of half stuck in there. And one of the infected leans over to bite Dina.
Yep.
To give her a big bite, and Ellie
Yep.
chucks her arm out, gets bit herself,
Yep.
Yeah.
which does not go unnoticed by Dina.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So holy shit.
She sees that happen, and
Yep.
she's like, well, Ellie's dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a shame. That's a real shame because I was just starting to get a bit of a boner for her, and now she's going to be a clicker.
Yeah. And so they run into, they get upstairs, they run out of the subway tunnel, and they see a big like theater, I guess,
Yeah.
like a big theater, and they run in there, and Ellie's barring the door, and she's like, "Hey, we'll go fucking prepare for this. We're gonna be okay in here. Let's. It's all gonna be good." And then Dina is holding the gun on her, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill you because you're infected." And
Yeah.
Ellie's like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute." Wait like a few minutes, and then I'll explain that I can't be infected.
Yep.
And so that's
Yep.
what happened.
Yep. She fesses up to her. Dina sort of doesn't really believe it, and she's like, "Well, how about I'll just go to sleep, and you can stay awake all night and point the gun at me, and if I turn." Then you can shoot me. I like that detail. I'm just going to go to sleep, and you can just and you can just stay awake all night.
Surely you could be like, tie me up or something. Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, like you might be thinking these are our last moments together, so maybe we could just kind of like talk, and that'll make it a bit easier. No, I will go to sleep.
I'm really sleepy.
Like right now, I could
Yeah.
just sleep. I don't really have the adrenaline's not really pumping right
Yeah.
Oh, I'm knackered.
Yeah.
now. Tired. And also saying I gotta go to sleep, you gotta stay awake. It's like having a fight with someone and go, well, and like that you've started, and then
Yeah.
you have to sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to sleep on the couch. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I cheated on you. You should go sleep on the couch.
Yes.
You started the fight by getting mad at me about the cheating. Therefore, you should sleep on the couch.
Yeah. Really.
And then she wakes up after water splashes on her, and it looks like she's freaking out. To
Yeah.
which Dina goes, whoa, and points
Yeah.
the light and the gun.
That was that was kind of funny. Ellie just being like, "Rawr," at some water drops.
Yeah.
Brains.
I said rains, not brains. Marge, the brains are here. It's
So I'm
like,
just
can
quoting my
someone
favourite
edit that ad? Can someone edit that ad so there's zombies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Brains are here.
Yes.
So yeah, they and then Dina then sees it's now been quite a few hours. Ellie takes off the bandage. There is absolutely zero sign of infection. It's just a regular old bite.
It's a regular bite that'll get infected by just normal bacteria.
Yeah.
That would be a real twist in the show. She just got a bad infection and died.
Yeah, yeah. Gets sepsis and fucking drops off the perch.
Yeah.
Like that episode ends and then it goes, and that was the end of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Ellie died of sepsis later that day.
Yeah.
I've always thought that would be like an interesting. I wonder if you could do that where you have a show where you've put out, there's going to be 7 episodes. And so people are like watching it and they're like, well, we know there's. But then if you actually just ended it at 5 and went, hey, we just did this to get you into a false sense of security and have a very like abrupt ending. That could be kind of cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think people would hate it.
And then you've
but-
got 2 episodes of Skellingtons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you can be
spin-off.
like, just so you don't feel ripped off.
Yeah.
We've got Skellingtons for 2 episodes.
The 5 episodes previously had all been like weirdly low budget looking, and then the Skellington episodes are like just fucking huge CGI, fucking big budget, giant sets.
What I love about this is there's at least, I was going to say at least one person, but I would say at least 80% of people that just don't find this whole Skellington riff funny at all. And every time Skellingtons is brought up, they're like, okay, can you...
Oh, God.
I'm just trying to listen to the recap. of this
Fast
show.
forward 8 minutes until they're done talking about
And
this.
like they just go and like skip, and then you hear, and then the Skellington skip. Hello, my baby, skip.
Yeah. And then we keep being done with it and then finding reasons to come back to it as well.
Skellingtons.
Okay, look, there's not much left in the real episode. So,
Yep.
yeah, Ellie's fine. Dina says, I'm pregnant. Ellie says, what? And then they make out immediately.
Yeah.
In a moment
Yeah.
of pure fucking... Oh, yeah.
And they fuck.
They fuck.
They fucking fuck. They fuck. Wait. They go to Fox City, where they fuck in Fox City. All right.
Now that now again, there's an even smaller percentage of that 80% of people that are like, bring back the skeletons, please.
Oh, cool. Greg's got his soundboard out again. Good. Yeah. So they have a route. Mm-hmm. They have a route in an apocalypse route.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they wake up.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I loved this. Just them being like, "How come you never said anything?" And you know, just being like, Ellie being like, "I'm going to be a dad." And I like when she's like saying to Dina, "So is it Jesse's?" And Dina looks quite taken aback at the implication that she's some kind of apocalypse whore. Just
yeah. And also funny, like, and maybe really like because they've known each other for a long time, and Ellie's obviously felt like this for ages. But then she's like, "I'm going to be a dad." Like, it's just like, yep, they're moving in to get like immediate.
Yep.
But also, that's like, I mean, like I've heard a lot of queer women say that the classic joke of like, what do lesbians bring on a second date? Like removalists.
Yeah.
Like movie men. So, you know, like.
So even in the apocalyptic wasteland, there's some things that are just always going to be true.
Yeah.
But it sort of tracks to me as well, because she's like, in the moment when I thought you were dead, I was just like, oh,
yeah,
like who gives a fuck about waiting for anything or like, which is very true in an apocalypse situation.
Yeah,
I'd be like, nah, if I want to do something, I'm gonna get it done.
Absolutely.
If I want to I'm trying to think of a Skellington joke and I can't. But you know,
that's a bad sign. Oh yeah, if I wanted to Skellingtons,
yeah. If you wanted to Skellingtons, I'd Skellingtons.
Well, yeah, and like you know, you mentioned Band of Brothers before. It's like, yeah, a lot of the times in the trenches, those guys after they survive a fight, they just start making out with each other because it's like, why hold back?
Just fucking go hog wild. Get your hogs out and go hog wild.
Yeah. And so yeah, there's a bit of bonding. They talk about it being Jesse's and how like, well, that you know, now we're a family. We're all having a baby together, and yeah, Dina talking a little bit about how she, you know, when she was a kid, she was like, oh, I like boys and girls, and her mum saying, no, you don't. You like boys only. Yeah. And this has sort of been something she's come to terms with, and I think all of that was like really nice, really nicely done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You fully believe, like you said, Greg, like it is fast, but I think it's completely believable, and again, just adds even more stakes.
There's just something about the dialogue and the acting that, like in that scene specifically, but just in the game and in the show, just in general, it just feels really like that does feel like a realistic young people hooking up.
Yeah.
Conversation,
and especially when
like
they're in the situation,
dumb jokes and stuff.
Yeah,
like it just feels really like honest and kind of, and I get like you get that sort of like weird giddiness as well of them being like, oh, we're hooking up.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of a bit of what you were saying last episode about how it felt like they were maybe drawing it out a little bit, and then here, like it, as you say, it tracks because it's like not even like the young person thing of it, but also just the incredibly specific situation they're in. It's like, what am I going to do? Fucking be riding around trying to find someone to kill with you and be hiding my feelings and be pretending that I feel a different way. And like, we don't even know when we get back to Jackson if that's even going to exist. You know, for all we know, like in this world, you get really used to this idea of like complete impermanence. So it's like, we might both be dead tomorrow anyway. So like, why be like coy about it and passing notes back and forth? And I thought the unraveling of it immediately post the bite, I thought was like, really, really nice. Felt very natural. Yeah.
I liked it.
And then they go up onto the roof and they can see big old gunfight off in the distance.
There's a battle going on.
Big explosion.
And that's right. They hear on the radio. They hear some chatter because they've got that radio, and they hear Nora's voice. Or no, someone mentioned Nora, or like, I can't remember how it worked out, but one of the people who was there with Abby was mentioned on the radio.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, first of all, they hear the opening of Monster Mash and they realise they've got it tuned to Skellington FM. So then they like move the dial and they can hear. Yeah.
Well, they move the dial after they go, well, let's listen to this for a bit.
Yeah.
And let's do the dance.
Yeah.
We're not
and it
going
was
to deprive ourselves
a weird
of
choice
pleasure.
to make it a 10-hour episode.
Yeah.
Skip.
I wasn't skipping during the
No.
I haven't slept.
I was skipping around my goddamn living room.
Yeah. Dancing to the Skellington.
And they keep looking at each other. They're like, is this cultural appropriation that we're doing the Skellington dance when we're not
Right.
Skellingtons?
Yeah.
And then there's this
Right.
long discussion about like,
Because they're like, we have Skellingtons inside us.
Yeah.
And then Dina's
And they're like-
well, no, technically it's skeletons.
Yeah.
You are a Skellington if you're just a skeleton.
Yes.
no, but then they're like quite rightly, you know, they're like, it's a tribute, it's an homage, and also
Yeah.
Dina's like, but what about the film White Chicks? You know, that's not, you know, they're allowed to do that in that film, and no one had an issue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the Wayans brothers come in and they say, well, there's obviously differences, but, and one of the Skellingtons comes in and the Skellington's like, look, we actually like, I think you'll find like over in Skellington land, people are like more than happy for you to embrace our culture. You know, we'll sell
Over in-
trinkets on the side of the road.
over in Skellingtonia, they feel very differently about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're like, look, our culture is not, you know, it's not a monolith. There's people with different views in different areas, but
That's right.
as far as like, as long as you're doing the Skellington dance with respect and like embracing the honor, like the way in which the Skellingtons, you know, do their dance
Right.
in a correct way, in a culturally appropriate way, then we're happy for you to do this Skellington dance.
Yeah, like don't do
And
the
then-
Skellington voice in sort of like a jokey, mocking, sort of high pitched
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can
And
you can
don't-
do the dance.
And as long as you don't go bone face, like
Yeah,
as
oh,
long
well.
as you don't, you know,
Yeah,
use
yeah.
like you know that sort of alt bleach white powder
Yeah.
and go bone face, which is really not cool.
And I thought what was really impressive, Greg, is that everything you just said was still in the tune of the Monster Mash. Like it was all sort of like a,
Yeah.
it was all, they were singing this and in time with the music. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
that must have been so hard to write. Like that would have
Yeah.
taken ages.
To have
Yeah.
like a literal sit down Q&A type panel discussing cultural appropriation to the tune of the Monster Mash, everything rhymed.
Yep.
Everything like it felt like that's what the song was originally written for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Even like the questions from the audience and the, you know, like it all was just in the tune of the Monster Mash.
Yeah, it was kind of like the monorail episode of The Simpsons, but you know, deadly serious and
Yeah.
kind of like touching, quite heartwarming, honestly.
Yeah.
To sort of see a really civil discussion about something like that done
Yeah.
to the tune of the Monster Mash.
The thing that I think wasn't great was that all the Skellingtons having an orgy in the background.
Yeah, I think that
It like
detracted
kind
a
of, it
little
kind
bit.
of like to me, it's almost like it negated the earnestness of the
Yeah.
discussion about Skellington culture when you could see all these Skellingtons rooting and 69ing.
And it felt a little crass kind of immediately following on from sort of what we saw with the relationship with Ellie and Dina.
Yeah.
It sort of did, it kind of did undermine the deft touch that sort of relationship had been treated with.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree.
I think, you know, no one said that television can't be challenging, you know? And I think that that's just an example of something that, sure, not everyone might be able to get on board with it. But I think if you sort of you do a bit of your own work to sort of meet them halfway, I think it's worth it. It's quite rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those who have just been skipping, Ben was still talking about the Skellingtons in that moment, so you haven't missed an earnest discussion. Ben was still that was a Skellington.
That was about the Skellingtons. Yeah.
Skellington chat finished now.
So anyway, they tune the radio and they
After
hear
the Skellingtons,
after the Skellingtons. Yeah.
And they hear Nora's name. Nora's name's referenced, and the location,
and a specific building. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just said like the white building or something. I can't remember, but they say a specific building.
Yes, and so they're like, okay, shit, let's go have a look upstairs, see if we can see anything. They do see a big explosion, some like rat-a-tat-tat of gunfire, and the big white building off in the distance looks to be a hospital. I can see a little red cross on it. To me, that says hospital.
Yep.
And Ellie tells Dina that she doesn't have to go with her. It's going to be dangerous. There's something, more at stake now than before, and she holds out her hand and it says, together. Together.
We're going to do it together.
We're going to do it together. And cut to black. Bang. End of the episode.
The end. Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Good ep.
And let me tell you, I thought it was a great thrill ride. I thought last week's episode felt like it was very setty-uppy. There were so many good scenes, and it's the thing that like I this show really does do like action scenes really well, and like real tension, like climbing up through that window and then seeing the fucking intestines.
Yeah.
The torture scene was fucked.
Yeah.
There was like very few better scenes than Isaac throwing the grenades into the car.
Oh yeah.
Just
I
so
love
casually. Like
Yeah.
so casually in the way that it takes them a second to figure out what the fuck is. It took me a second to figure out what the fuck is happening.
Right.
I'm such a
he's
sucker
just
for a cold open with some people we've never seen before. I fucking love just a random whoa, where are we? Who are these folks? Yeah.
And it's stuff like that that really fills it out and
Yes.
oh man. I just thought this was a great episode. I thought it was fun, exciting, and it's really thinking of the show just in isolation. If I hadn't known what's going on, it feels really man, I'm so keen to see this. They're on the top of the roof, they see this battle, they see this place they have to get to. It feels very high stakes. It feels very exciting. What the fuck is going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm super keen to watch, and I think well done. Well done, everyone.
Bravo, everyone. Bravo.
Take a bow.
Show.
Beautiful work.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you are spoiler free, let us know what you reckon about this goddamn show. Greg, do you have anything to plug? By the way,
I have anything to plug. My butt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh no! Shut up! I do have something. I forgot. I do have something to plug. I'm doing a series of live shows that should be on sale now.
Hell yeah.
At Comedy Republic in Melbourne over 6 nights. It's called The Greg Larsen Show in brackets The Show.
Very nice.
And it's going to be filmed. We're filming. It's like this is okay. So this is what's happening over 6 nights with Grouse House. I'm doing the YouTube channel Grouse House. I'm doing my show, The Greg Larsen Show. 6 different pilots. They will all be proper good, normal TV show pilots.
Okay.
Really normal and nothing fucked is going to happen.
Right.
And
So sort of like a David Tench Tonight sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of, like a Rove
Hard
Live.
hitting.
I'm trying. I've got 6 different formats.
Yeah.
One will be a Rove Live. One will be a Taskmaster Australia because there's a British one. So I'm going to do Taskmaster Australia because I want to pitch that over here.
That's clever. Yeah. I think there'll be a market for that.
One I'm going to do an improv based show. There's 6 different nights, 6 different formats, all filmed.
Cool.
All filmed, and you can get them. You can go onto Comedy Republic and. Get a ticket to be part of the live studio audience for what could be the new big show.
Hell yeah.
All right. Very
Can't
exciting.
wait.
Very exciting, Greg. Tommy, anything to plug?
Yeah, I'm doing at Comedy Monarchy. I'm doing my show, the Skellingtons show, brackets the show. 6 nights of 6 different Skellingtons. And they'll all be filmed for the YouTube channel Shithouse.
Can I just step in and say this is a joke response? This is not something that Tommy's doing. He's not doing the Skellingtons.
No.
He's not doing it at Comedy Monarchy. This is all made up. This is made up stuff.
No, I'll be in Brisbane this Saturday night, May the 10th, doing my show, main character,
Now,
and then
Tommy,
the following
now you're
week
just taking
I'll
the
be in
piss.
Sydney, May the 17th, at Arcade Bar.
Like, he's just making shit up. Like, stop.
Nobody go buy tickets to those. It's a prank.
Brisbane, what a
Brisbane?
silly name.
Brisbane doesn't exist.
What a silly name for a place.
I'm from there and it doesn't even exist.
It's not a real place. Anyway, okay, let's go. Let's talk spoilers. We're talking spoilers now.
All right. I'll
Greg,
play,
kick us off.
We are in the spoiler section. We are in the spoiler section.
Daddy. Oh, word.
Spoilers.
Oh, Daddy.
Okay.
All right. Oh, fuck. I just remembered. We used to call this the quarantine zone.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the quarantine zone. We're in the quarantine zone. Official quarantine spoilers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any questions?
No. Let's just fucking get into it.
So what did you guys think about kicking it off with the day one? The obviously a kind of a format thing that is a direct thing from the game, kind of, you know, like signaling, because we're in the game we see like Ellie's kind of few days kind of pans out, and then when the big kind of pivot happens, we go all the way back and we see Abby day one. So that's the kind of the big thing for me with the timing of this was really like there's, you know, they're setting up. It kind of feels like you would only be putting that in if you were going to sort of directly do that here. But then I was like, man, there's like three eps after this. Like that just kind of seems like, I don't know how they're going to pack that all in.
If they swapped episodes, so it was like day one, day, and then next episode is Abby's day one.
Oh.
Then you would only get to day 2.
Yeah.
If they did that.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get the impression that they might, like after having set Abby up, they might do what I thought they were going to do, which is like just basically leave Abby until next season.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
I think that might happen. Because, you know, you could go day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, because we've got 3 more episodes left, and then go to next, and then end on, you know, well, like, I mean, literally, like in the show, like I was about to say spoiler, but this is the game. This is the spoiler section.
Yeah. That's right.
Like end on that big climactic moment where Abby comes to the cinema. Like that was the sort of halfway point.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to remember like season. What, because I kind of thought that I've kind of forgotten what happens like after this point that we just saw in the show in the game. I didn't remember that there was like all like that much more. I had a feeling that maybe this episode was going to end with them like, you know, waking up and Abby's there. I couldn't remember like what happened.
Well, there's basically a bunch of shit. Is like she just kills one by one.
Yeah.
A few different people.
Right.
Ending with her going to the aquarium and finding a pregnant woman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What's her name? And
Mara or something?
Yeah. And then Guy, what's that guy's name? Evan? I feel like I want to say Evan.
Owen's the guy who was like, is like kind of in a will they won't they with Abby. Yeah.
And it was so like while all this was going on, this was Abby's whole thing with the Seraphites was happening while this was happening.
Yeah.
Right.
And when she comes back, she finds Owen and pregnant woman dead.
Yes.
And then goes in and attacks Ellie.
Right.
And so in the Ellie version of things, there's like a few more people she has to kill, a few more things she has to do, and then she goes back to. And then after she kills the pregnant woman and Owen, and she's pretty shaken up by that because she doesn't. It's not until after she kills her that she realizes she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She goes back to the cinema, and I think they pretty much At that point, I think they might have decided we're out of here.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think
because
they decided I can't keep doing
Yeah.
it's fucking we got to go.
And I think they kind of have run out of clues, right? It was like, well, apparently they're all hanging out at this aquarium, and then when she's not there, it's like, well, we've run out of people to kill.
Everyone who knows where she is dead.
Yeah.
I've just killed a pregnant woman. And
Yeah.
I think they kind of have to go. And at whatever point Tommy and Jesse catch up with them.
Right.
So Tommy and Jesse are there. I reckon that's all just going to play out. And I actually think time-wise, it'll actually work out pretty well because, again, we know how long the game is, but also you've got to remember how much of that is literally just walking around and scavenging.
Yeah, that's my memory of the Seattle bit in the game is that it's just very gameplay. It's not quite open world, but you've got that, you're in that big bit where you're kind of going from... Yeah, I'd sort of forgotten all that Owen stuff, but that would track. It does feel weird to sort of do such heavy setup of the Seraphites and of Abby to then just sort of cast them aside and to just be we'll see you in a year.
We do know in Ellie's story at least she encounters the Seraphites quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that would still happen, I assume. Because there's a whole thing where she's going through a foresty bit and then gets shot by one of them.
Yeah. That was the teaser for the. Or was it Ellie in that teaser for the game before it ever came out? Where it was
it was Abby. That was Abby being tied up. But that was it. Yeah. But it's and also there's a point I can't even remember how it happens, but she's trying to oh no, actually I'm wrong. It's Abby trying to kill this sniper, and the sniper turns out to be Tommy.
Yeah. I think the stuff they have to fit in. Well, again, if we assuming they're following the game structure, they have to. Well, they have to encounter Jesse. I assume that's going to happen because he, his death is again just underlines we've just got to go home. This is fucked.
Yeah.
But Tommy at this point was one step ahead of them in the game, and they were sort of following in his wake. And they were seeing, dead wolves that were being shot by a sniper, and I think, he's sort of almost leaving a path for them to follow in the game, and he's not there.
I think it's going to be. My prediction is that we're going to see that most of, if not all of, the Abby storyline next season. I think it'll end on the cliffhanger in the same way as the game. But I think we're going to see more of Jackson, and we're going to see Tommy and Jesse and maybe others decide to go after Ellie, and Dina.
Yeah.
I reckon they will go after them. And I reckon we'll see Jackson, we'll see Tommy and that go there. And there's the scene where there's two major killings that Ellie does that will surely be two separate episodes, which is Owen and Pregnant Woman, and then also the other one where she beats that other woman to death. And I think that was Nora, was it?
Yeah. That's in the hospital.
Was in the hospital, yeah. So where she beats her to death, which will be real cool.
Yeah, I think if we assume that what you're saying is correct, and that we'll get to the end and it'll be that hard kind of cliffhanger of Abby having found them. In that case, it does. I can kind of understand the decision at the very start of the series of the season to give us a little bit of a context for who Abby is and why she's...
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's that's so harsh to just give you a whole season of not knowing and then end on a cliffhanger and then make you wait, a year and still not know. I can totally understand the decision then to be you can't just leave people for 2 years literally not knowing who this person is, and presumably people in that gap will fill it in themselves. And it's the Lost thing, right? You don't want the audience to get ahead of you in a way that it kind of ultimately ends up feeling a bit unsatisfying.
And also just get bored.
Yeah.
And you are right, because it's the big criticism I had. But then the more I think about it, you're right, because in the game, it is a big cliffhanger moment, but then also you then immediately just keep playing.
Yeah, you just can play through
The
it like a
game
relative
is
speed of
finished.
however fast
Like-
you want. Yeah, you consume it whenever you want. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can find out straight away, and you can become Abby straight away, and you don't have that in a TV show.
Yeah, I think having it be like sort of unsaid, for an entire season would just be. I think just pure viewers would find that, really unsatisfying and probably a bit annoying to get to the end and still not know, like, because you already like. I saw a bit of, people were losing their minds about it, not quite to the same extent as with the game when that came out, but people were like, oh, this character we like, and he just fucking died for no reason. Like, I saw that a lot. Like, they just fucking randomly killed him off, even with the context of, like, this is who she is and this is why she's done it. There still were people watching being like, I don't get it. Why did he fucking have to die? It's like, you know why he had to die. Like, you saw, like, you know, you got more than we did with the game.
I think it's like, the part of the reason I love The Last of Us so much, like, people have, especially nerds, have like this sort of like, I don't know, this kind of like rules-based thing of like, this is how a show has to be structured and this is the characters, and if they're on an arc, they have to finish the arc.
Right.
And the arc is one of the set arcs. And like, there are main characters and there are NPCs. Like, and none of that's real. Like, what makes the show so good is that, like, people just fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that's what, like, it's not about, and it's the same with Game of Thrones and why Game of Thrones was so good, especially at the start at least.
Yeah.
They weren't killing people just to be like, oh, shocking. And I think that's what everyone assumed. Like, people who are dumb are like, oh, you're just killing characters to be shocking and to shock people.
Yeah.
But no, they're doing it because in real life, in, wars, like, heaps of people die.
Yeah.
And-
No, you're totally right, Greg. I
and
feel
like
like
the guy that you're going for, just, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if someone's an underdog, probably they're going to lose. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
and at least and that's the thing. It's like, it's the same with, like, any war movie. I mean, like, if a certain percentage of your characters don't die, it doesn't make any sense because why are they all surviving?
Yeah.
Like,
and
a lot of people fucking die.
The interesting thing about shows and movies and stuff that deal with it in this way is like, you don't get the like wish fulfillment alternate reality where the good guy survives and everyone's happy. You have to deal with what is a reality most of the time, and that's interesting to see someone have to like or choose to write their way out of that and around that and into the next part of that story. Like, that is why this is an interesting show and game and story. But yeah, so a couple of things. My partner has been threatening to look up what happens, which is so frustrating. Which again,
Lauren still hasn't caught up. I think she's finished season 1 and so she hasn't watched any of season 2 yet. And so she keeps being like, oh, I'll watch it with you tonight. Like, just tell me what's happened up until this point. And I'm like, no, you've got to fucking watch it. It's like, there's no satisfaction out of just picking up at this point, like knowing what came before.
No.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked.
And so, I'm like, no. And the other thing was, at the end of this episode, which I liked as well as you guys, she was like, because like she doesn't want a pregnancy storyline, which I think is based on how it's been done in other things, which has been very cliched and has been sort of a crutch of a plot line in a lot of shows and movies. And the other thing was, she was like, I don't want to just watch a war. And it's hard to be like, well, that's just a backdrop. Like, but I wonder, if you're just watching the show completely cold, and it's like, oh well, they're just gonna fucking run into. I think she said specifically, like, I don't want to see them just do what happened with Abby, where they just run into this sort of camp, find the person and kill them. That doesn't seem interesting, but. That's just an interesting perspective from someone who doesn't know. Like, no, there are twists and turns, and there's more of a development.
The whole
story.
the entire point of the game, really, like the story in the second game, is like killing people takes a toll. Like it's like it literally. I mean, it kind of literally is just that, but also it's her. Like she gets revenge and kills this person with a lead pipe, and then it fucks her up real bad. Like the whole point of the game is about how much it fucks you up, and it's like couched in a way that's like interesting, like that you know, in the game it's like, oh yeah, sick, I get to kill more people, and like you're going through and like killing dudes and it's like and the game has those little details where like there's one point where you come out of the water and you kill this woman, and she's playing like a little video game.
Right.
And then like later in Abby's story, you see her and she's really nice and she's like young and she's like 18 and she's playing this video game and she doesn't really want to be a soldier or whatever, and like Ellie just kills her, you know, in cold blood. Yeah. Like that's kind of the whole point, is like, you know, that the violence that you want is like real.
Yeah. And won't be fulfilling anyway.
Yeah.
Just like the cost isn't worth it. Yeah.
You're right, Ben. Like I think like I probably would have the same response to it if I was watching it having not played the game, because it's often, you know, you think about what you really liked kind of about season 1 and how it was structured, and it was these two people on this journey, and it is always jarring when you pick up and you know, you go back into another season and they do something really explosive that just kind of changes the layout of the show and what's happening, and you know, you do end up going like, I don't want to watch a war series. I don't want to watch a pregnancy story. That's not what I was into in the first place. And you know, even though that was like still a big story pivot that they did in the second game, you still had the anchor of like, well, the gameplay still feels so familiar and fun and satisfying in that way, and it's like that storytelling for a game was so different and interesting that like, I wonder if I was watching this fresh, if I would be a little bit like, what the fuck are they doing here? Like maybe I would feel like, oh, they've just done you know, maybe it would feel a little, if this existed without the context of it being, adapted from a game that, you know, that people love the story from that, maybe it would just feel like, oh, what a weird decision to do, to just kill off this guy. Did his contract run out? Like, you know what I mean? Because that is such a classic thing that they used to do in shows like, hey, this person wants to leave and make movies now. So then it's like, all right, I guess they just randomly die in a car crash. Right. You know, and you're like, oh, but I like that car. Why? I don't like the show as much without that. Like my friend said to me, who's watching it fresh, she was like, I don't know if I want to watch this without Joel. I really like Joel. So... Yeah, I mean that's what my partner said as well. But also, she's still going to watch it. I mean, it's the thing, I think it's the same thing as the game is like it's still so good that you will still watch it regardless. But either way, I mean, it's one of those things where I think people, and I think people, and I say people, I do it the same as well. Like, so overanalyze everything before, like watching it. If they like with a TV show going, I hope they don't do this. And it's like, well, just wait and see. It's like it's so easy to rush to judgment about like, I don't want this to happen, and then also be like, but just fucking like it might not. Also, it might. But in a way that you like, might be good, And
I mean, I did it myself at the start, where I'm like, I don't like the fact that, you know, they've given Abby's backstory and stuff, and then already I'm just like, it's actually probably the right choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's like what happens when fucking, I mean, it's the same when, like, you know, the Switch 2 launches, and there was that little ad for it, and then based on like a minute and a half of footage, people are like, okay, I've already figured out what's wrong with the Switch 2 and why it's bad.
Yeah, totally.
Because like if you pause the video here, you can see this little thing. It's like, fucking just wait.
Yeah.
You know, if a show is, if you like a show, and again, I'm saying this to myself as much as anyone else, like just kind of just watch it. Don't worry. I mean, maybe it will suck. I mean, it's like Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones ended up being real shit by the end, but maybe it won't as well.
Yeah.
But it's the thing that, like, you know, it's the annoying thing about anything. It's like, I don't want to give too many spoilers away for another show, but I'm thinking about like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Right.
And I love Better Call Saul so much. I mean, I love them both. But I think the ending of Better Call Saul the ending of Breaking Bad was like way more satisfying. But the ending of Better Call Saul was just better.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Beautifully done,
It wasn't necessarily the ending I wanted. And I kind of, it's one of those ending, like when Breaking Bad finished, I was like, fuck yeah. And it ended, right?
Yep.
And I don't think it's Breaking Bad spoilers matter at this point. Like Walt shoots all the Nazis, everyone gets killed.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he dies, but he was going to die anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He was, from episode 1, had cancer.
Yeah.
And it was like, he
You hear
kind of
that, Tommy?
If you have cancer, you deserve to die. Yeah, message received loud and clear.
Yeah.
My dog's kicking off. He hates it.
But then, and it was like the ending where you just kind of at that moment, I just go like, "Fuck yeah, sick."
Absolutely, yeah. It's not necessarily like the most artfully done, but it is a satisfying, like almost popcorn ending in a way. Whereas,
Yeah, totally.
I completely agree with Better Call Saul. It is like it's a more complicated ending. It's not as clean, but I think it's better.
It actually made me. Like, I kind of didn't like it at first.
Right.
Like, because I was like, why didn't he just, I don't want to do too many spoilers on Better Call Saul because it's more recent, but it's like, why didn't he just fucking, he didn't have to, he could have taken the deal, But then when you think about it, it's like, nah, that actually, it's not the ending I wanted, but it's the ending that he deserved.
Yeah,
the
yes.
ending that, makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a show like, with The Last of Us and with, early seasons of Game of Thrones, it's like, I didn't want this person to die or I didn't want this to happen, but it's like, but structurally and story-wise, it actually is much more powerful and it makes more sense as well.
Yeah.
To do it this way. Like sometimes the initial thing that you think you want is not good. Like if we just went by pure audience reaction, Seinfeld would just be 4 Kramers.
Yes.
Right. And you can't have 4 Kramers.
No.
Yeah.
You can't put a Kramer on a Kramer.
You can't put a Kramer on a Kramer.
Well, yeah, I think also with this too, like we also know that the source material that they still have to adapt into the next season is so great as well. It's not like I feel like sometimes I'm watching a show and you kind of do start to lose faith in that they've got a plan, that they've got an idea of what's going to happen next. But at least with this, we do know that there is at least another one season of really solid material. So I don't have any kind of oh shit, I hope the real question is just do they wrap up this chunk of this story in a satisfying enough way for people that are just watching the show and in a way where, and I mean, look, I guess also too with TV now, you just don't know how long the wait is going to be until the next season is the other thing, because I'm just enjoying watching it again, and we had such a long wait between season 1 and season 2, so yeah.
And I mean, and that's that's the thing as well. Like if I didn't play the game, I at least know this is a story that ends.
Yeah.
And is written from beginning to end. It's why I don't like Severance anymore.
I was going to bring up Severance. Yes, I don't know if that's what you were thinking of, Tommy, when you're thinking of a show that maybe starts to flounder and your appreciation of it is getting sort of tempered and you don't know what they have coming up next.
Well, yeah, exactly. It was that, because we talked about that a lot when we were recapping Severance, Greg, and I mean that, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, they would have some pretty explosive stuff happen, but it was just one of those shows where you just knew, you just had complete faith in them. No matter what they did, there was going to be some kind of satisfying follow on from that, where there is nothing worse than watching a show where they introduce something and you're 2 episodes later you're it really feels like they chucked this in without really having too much of an idea. They ended the season and then went, anyway, see you in a year, guys. And then came back day one and got on the whiteboard and went, yeah, now it's a real pickle we've put ourselves in here. What can we have him do now? You just want to know that it's it's been brought up. A story beat has been brought up because there's something satisfying to do with it. And I think that season of Severance was a great example of just like, we talked about it a lot, like introducing this plot thing like pretty early on, and we went, oh fuck, here we go. And then they just really squandered it. They sort of did nothing with it in the end.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of show where I feel like it's same with Lost, where they're just kind of like, where they have no idea what the show is. Like they're like, oh, what is this show? It's just weird, man. Like,
it's
got really cool looking set pieces, and like, what if it had this scene and this scene and like whatever? But then you go like, well, what is it? And like, I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Yes.
You know, they've just started talking and thought, it's like, what's his name? Not David Brent, American version.
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott. Like there's one where he's like, sometimes I just start talking and I don't know what I'm going to say. And I don't know how the sentence is going to end.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with Last of Us. And I think it's good. I think it's I think there's plenty. I reckon that's what's going to happen. I reckon they're going to finish the next 3 seasons focusing on Ellie, and there'll definitely be Joel flashbacks. I'm sure of it.
I'm pumped.
Other than that,
this is a good one. We as you said, we all felt the last one was a little bit setting up a little bit, not heaps in it, but this was so satisfying, and I'm pumped for the last 3 now. I think we're going to be pretty like action heavy.
Yeah.